What's up, Disnerds? Hey, it's Lindsay coming at you live from the magical world of Disney, MWD. So, it's that time of year again. That's why you see the lovely bow in my hair. It is time for Christmas. Feliz Navidad, everyone! And as you can see, I have my lovely Disney holiday wrapping paper right here to keep me all decorated and wrapped up pretty as a bow. And I have my lovely Pooh Bear mug here, keeping me nice and warm with a hot Coke drink. Now, today we're actually going to be talking about the top 11 Disney deaths. Yes, I'm doing 11 instead of 10. I'm scandalous. So, let's get to it. Cheers, darling. Number 11, Ursula, the Sea Witch. While growing to colossal size to conjure up a gigantic storm to kill Ariel and now Eric, who is pulled into this mess, she is then led to her demise as Eric brings his ship around and pierces her right in between the breast. And by doing so, she is feeling the pain as her arteries are punctured with a wooden, basically a gigantic splintered wooden toothpick. And then she's electrocuted. Talk about overkill. But at least it was dramatic. And if Ursula is anything, we know she is a drama queen. So at least she went out the right way. Number 10, the Oogie Boogie Man. Now, throughout the film, we are seeing that he, little by little, ingests bugs, not knowing that the entire time he is adding them to his collection, or body, so to speak. So as the thread tears the seams, we can see his body shriveling up as the bugs fall out into the hot boiling lava below. And while this is happening, and he is falling apart, we can literally hear multiple, not one, multiple voices screaming, "My bugs! My bugs!" And as the final bug makes its way across the floor trying to escape, Santa squishes him with his boot. The entire time I'm watching this, I am contemplating and I'm thinking, how much pain do we know actually know? 'Cause this may be the last time you hear the boogie song. So, just a heads up, number 9 and number 8 are kind of like a duo pair, but in my opinion, I'm such a Disney fan, I believe every character deserves their own slot in this countdown, because they were both villains, and they both died in similar but different epic deaths. So here you go. Number 9, Helga Sinclair from Atlantis. She's pushed off of a hot air balloon with giant metal spinning rotators, and she is literally pushed hundreds of feet off the ground and hits rock. Her body is literally crushed to death as she has been betrayed by her partner in crime because he is that greedy. She literally is dying with her body, her arteries bursted, her bones are probably all crushed by now. She is slowly bleeding out probably from her brain. She lifts up a gun and says, "Nothing personal," and blasts the hot air balloon. At least she got her revenge in a dying final act. I gotta give that woman props. That is why she got her own slot. She may have been a side character, a side villain, but that's why she got it. She earned my respect. Number 8, Commander Rourke. So, being a selfish, greedy bully, he continues to pick on Milo and possibly tries to kill him in a hot air balloon as Milo is trying to save the love of his life. So Milo grabs a glass shard with essence of the crystal on it and cuts Rourke. Obviously at first, hey, it's a cut, what's that gonna do? But then suddenly, we see that the crystal is growing from inside his body out to the outside, crystallizing his own skin, moving its way all around, all over his body until he is literally paralyzed as a solid crystal that is glowing from inside. You have to imagine this entity is in pain because a human body is not supposed to experience that. But he is literally, in the end, blown up because the rotators stop and the balloon explodes along with him. He's literally blown to pieces. Serves him right. Number 7, Scar. Okay, so to all of us Disney fans who are true Disney fans, I think it's already pretty obvious what happened to Scar in that pit of hyenas. He literally was eaten by the followers that so loyally followed him to a new paradise utopia that they were promised, and he throws them under the bus. Figuratively speaking, of course. It's kind of poetic if you think about it. He is killed by those who followed him. Now, this next one, I'm gonna have to say I originally didn't put her this high in my list, but I had a lot of people knocking me because she is so epic. Yes, she made my top 5 in Epic Disney Villains video, but I wasn't completely sure she deserved this high of a count in Disney Villain Death. Not to say that it wasn't epic. Here you are, number 6. Number 6, Maleficent. Now Maleficent, who has transformed into a dragon with green flames surrounding her that she has created, she is pierced with a mighty sword by Prince Philip and falls to her death and burns within the mighty green flames that she has created herself. I suppose you can add that she screamed in agony, but that's pretty much it. Which is why I was kind of concerned on why she got so high the list. But I suppose it's pretty epic. Number 5, Mother Gothel. Now this woman is literally, now that she doesn't have her magic flower, she is rotting and withering and literally decaying away spontaneously into ash as she falls out of the tallest tower, trying to hide her now hideous and aging face, truly showing how much beauty was important to her. Literally nothing else in the entire world mattered. Now that she had no beauty, she might as well have been dead. So did she trip out? Or did she trip herself out of that tower? Subconsciously. Do we know? Many people have theories. We will never know. Number 4, Clayton. And if you guys don't remember who Clayton is, he is from the movie Tarzan. And Clayton, his epic death scene is basically him climbing into the vast vines that are up in the trees as he follows Tarzan to try and kill him. He gets entangled within the vines, and then he tries cutting them all away furiously. Tarzan tries to help. He tries to be the good person, and he tells him not to keep cutting because he sees what's happening. He knows what's going to happen. Clayton won't listen. He just wants Tarzan dead. He wants to be out of these vines. He is furious. He cuts, and he cuts, and he cuts, and he forgets that there is one tightly gripped around his neck. Then suddenly, he drops. You literally do not know how far. You hear him screaming and screaming until suddenly, snap, silence. His sword pierces the jungle floor. And as the lightning strikes, it casts a shadow on the trees, and you see nothing but Clayton's lifeless body shadowed onto those trees by his neck. I'm gonna leave you with that. Well, okay, yeah, it served him right. Now I'm gonna leave you with that. Now, this one, I had to write down, because this one is so complex This is why it made it my top 3. Number 3, Dr. Facilier. His death was epic, and I will read this. Immediately after the voodoo amulet shatters, we hear the ominous music as he desperately tries to fix it, and the spirits and demons rise out of the shadows of the grave surrounding him. As the masks and shrunken heads and shadows surround him, they continue to ask him, "Are you ready?" The same very question he asked Prince Naveen before he transformed him. Only this time, it means, "Are you ready to die?" As they grab his twisted shadow, his physical body is being dragged along with it. As he continues to plead for his life and mercy, he begins to claw the ground, digging his fingernails into the gravel. Suddenly, the demons are swallowed whole into the vortex within the mouth of a gigantic mask. Hush that. Chills. Every time I watch it. The first time I watched it, I was like, took my breath away. And that is why it is number 3. And number 2, Judge Claude Frollo. You know, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm just going to have to read the next 2 because my top 3 are so complex deaths, I had to write all of it down. So, number 2, Judge Claude Frollo. Even though he has broken every commandment in the book, he still thinks he's justified and is doing God's work. This is the ultimate sinner who is deceived. Even though he has broken every commandment in the book, he still thinks he's doing God's work by smiting the wicked. As he lifts his sword to plunge in Quasimodo, the child he raised, by the way, he loses his balance and trips. He grasps onto the neck of the gargoyle that he was standing on, and suddenly, as if a demon has possessed this head of a gargoyle, it's as if the devil and his demons have finally come for Judge Claude Frollo. As the gargoyle's face comes to life and begins to glow like fire, it crumbles and breaks from the walls of Notre Dame. And the demon within the stone gargoyle plummets along with Frollo to his demise within that pit of fire below, as if it is dragging it to hell. Possibly the death might have inspired the death for Haunted Mansion. Now, the Haunted Mansion death was epic, but it did not make my top 11 because for this reason. I believe they ripped it off of Hunchback of Notre Dame. And that is why. Finally, now, you all probably know by now that my favorite Disney villain is the Horned King. Not only is he my favorite Disney villain, honestly, he also deserves the top spot for Disney villain deaths because it is so dark. And I read. As the ominous music becomes louder, the green fog continues to fill the room as the wind begins to suck Taran into the black cauldron. He is struggling to keep a hold of the mount on the wall when the Horned King enters the room as he continues to strangle Gurgi, his gremlin-like henchman. He screams at the skeletal soldiers, ordering them to come alive and obey him once more. His eyes glow blood red with fury as he realizes Taran, the pig boy, As he realizes Taran, the pig boy, is to blame. He tries to grab him, to sacrifice him, but Taran fights back and the Horned King begins getting sucked into the vortex of the black cauldron. The cauldron is hungry for more sacrifices as it rips the cloak from his body and reveals his demonic rotting flesh. Then we continue to see the rotting body's flesh being torn off to leave nothing but a skeleton. And as it's being ripped off, it leaves nothing but skeletal ash as the lightning from the cauldron sparks we hear the Horned King's dying cries of pain and agony. It's kind of poetic. The thing he searches for so long is the key to his demise. Pure poetry, pure drama, epic, 100%. And that is why the Horned King is my number one in my top 11 Disney villain deaths countdown. Well, this is Lindsay here at MWD, The Magical World of Disney, on YouTube. Now, if y'all want to leave some comments or some future ideas for my videos or even some tips, criticisms, fine, leave them. I'd love to hear from you guys. Or if you think I might have missed a villain death, have a magical day, everyone. Peace out and happy holidays.